let's go back to some gi or no gi stuff. Let's see who we got. Okay, cool. So this is competition class. This was actually leading up to Naga.
Yep.
So some busy mats. Looks like everybody's probably just getting started. We were doing shorter rounds here too, so it's definitely higher intensity. It's like we got Johnny Boy and Mike there in the front and center. Johnny's one of our longtime students, a young green belt who's bigger than me now, and it's kind of bullshit. But, you know, I do what I can.
He's a force. Anyone who's trained with him.
So Mike is focusing, like, so what I'd like to see him doing right now, and instead of, yeah, like he needed to get that knee free. That was his primary concern. I would have liked to see some head and arm control there, before, you know, instead of just playing patty cakes with him.
Mm-hmm.
So we got a mount, and you know, Mike's once you're pinned, I could I'll bring up my handy dandy fight goals. You know, Mike's working from a mount, a shitty mount right now, but a mount nonetheless, where his goal needs to be to isolate. So there you see him turn in the corner. He's trying to isolate Johnny's arm, looking to break the grip now. Let's hope Ronnie doesn't block. Okay. So Johnny lost his grip, and there he nicely gets the tap.
Yeah, there's definitely improvement points, right? Like he should have been pinching his knees tightly, right? That's one of the things that we always talk about. It's like that. That's like the lost thing for armbar. Like why am I not finishing arm? Or are you pinching your knees?
Yeah,
like, that's the best way to isolate the shoulder.
So much going on here.
I know, there's a lot. I think in the back, I'm coaching Steven and Jason.
Yeah.
And then you are working with Joe, and I could not...
Gavin, I believe. Yep. Gavin was getting railroaded by Joseph back there.
Yeah.
Scoot this forward since everybody just wants to stand around and talk. Speed it up a bit. Mike with a little single.
Shoot for a single.
Yeah, and that's characteristic of a lot of what I often complain about with new guys. It's tough, you know, to make it a habit, but like, you know, shooting it on that single and then letting Johnny just sprawl on you, you know, instead of cutting your angle, hitting more of a sweep single. Johnny should have been trying to get on his back there. He would have had a pretty sweet opportunity. But he takes mount, so that's good.
Yeah.
And again, Johnny's in mount. He's in a, you know, what I think is the second best pin you could have, second only to being on the back. And now he's looking for Mike's top arm here, it looks like. And Mike escapes with his life to the bell. All right, Mike and Mitch.
Yeah.
So yeah, this is, you know, one thing we didn't get to see too much in Mitch's competition matches was the level of regarding you have to do to like keep him at bay. And you know, right off the bat, you can see you're just immediately like inverting and just trying to, you know, doing a good job of keeping your legs in and everything. Cameron's gonna block it with his haircut.
He does it for a little bit, yeah, in this one. I'm going for grips. I'm trying to make stuff happen, and he's doing a really good job of shaking my grips off, right? I'm trying 2-on-1. I'm trying to do... Here, I had him... Yeah, I had him in a pretty decent shoulder crunch here, and he starts to do the right thing. And I think I tell him right there, I'm like, your head has to go above my head. When I get somebody in this position, I can pretty much turn them over. But the key thing that I'm looking for is the position of your head relative to mine. So see how now his head is getting above my head? That becomes where it no longer becomes a shoulder crunch. It's a liability to me. So I have to let go and I have to start thinking about other ways to do it. But now I'm starting to work his head down, and then he worked. So it's a battle of head position here. So I'm trying to extend my legs away and then give him, you know, forearm cross face to push him down so that I can regain that shoulder, and I wind up losing the shoulder. I do shoot up for a triangle.
He did well to keep his elbow out of that.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, Joe's looking for a reverse triangle.
Reverse, yeah.
It's fun to see. He just doesn't have the angle on it.
Yeah, no, I love that. I like how he like Joe is really good at just kind of feeling it out. You know, like he's very it's intuitive to him, I feel like.
Yeah, and for this, like the reverse triangle is weird because you basically have to put yourself into a north-south position. So he's kind of cutting an angle in the wrong direction. At least how I know how to finish it. You know, you're
go under them, right?
Sorry. What was that?
You gotta go like underneath.
Right.
You have to go underneath them.
Yeah. Looks like Mitch finally got around.
Got my guard passed by Mitch.
Teabagging you.
Yep. When I'm in north-south, it's really like I don't feel danger from a lot of people in north-south position. My goal is really to force them to get me back into a side control so that I can regard.
Yeah.
And here I turtle up, and then I wind up getting back to a guard.
It's pretty much my strategy with you from your north-south.
Yep.
Which from day one of you and I training together sucked. And it sucks. Present tense. I want to go back a second. If we look to Steven and Taylor.
Oh yeah.
So this is something I think I've worked on a bit with Taylor recently. But he's in mount, right? And we're actually going over this in class right now. But notice he's taking these big bridges, so much so that he's moving across the mat. Problem with all this is he's not blocking knees. He's barely getting Steven off balance. Like a bridge is pretty useless in isolation, right? If he's gonna bridge, I'd rather see him do it to get Steven's hands on the mat above his head, and then capture an arm. Like right there, he could attempt a classic Upa. But the other thing I'd rather see him doing, which maybe he switches to here, is framing the hips, looking to get an elbow inside the knee. I've been saying this ad nauseum. Right here, right instead of this bridge, he should be looking to get that elbow inside the knee. In an attempt to do like an elbow escape. It's you just see a lot of white belts, a lot of beginners flailing and bridging with no real progress being made when they do it.
Yeah, I think, and the way that you train, especially with the size difference in everyone that you train with, right? Like, if you try to move Mitch, it's a failed effort, right? So you have to be able to stop Mitch from moving so that you can move yourself.
Yeah.
And that's what the elbows are doing when they lock down. Like, they're preventing the other person from moving so that you can move yourself.
Yeah.
They provide an anchor.
So Mitch got on your back, almost, kind of, sort of.
He did not. Yeah, he didn't get hooks.
You didn't get a second hook in.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, like, so kind of in the lead up to it, you see a bit of his agility, right? Picking you up, pulling you over. But yeah, I mean, explain what you're doing here to make it impossible for him to get that hook in, or making it difficult.
Yeah. So one thing that I'm trying to do is beat his hips. So I have two options. My first option is to get my hips flat to the mat. My second option is to get my shoulders to the mat. If I can do either of those things, then I win the battle.
Yeah.
And so as soon as I know that I can get my ass on the mat, I'm pretty free. Here I'm trying to shoot in for a leg attack and finish it off. But the bell rings at the last minute.
Yeah,
Let's see
right
how
there.
my right leg is in.
Yeah, you were hooked in under the knee.
Yeah, I wanted to pull that in, but didn't get to it. And then Mike strangles me to show the kids what it's like to choke somebody.
Oh, nice. Yeah, they were.
Here, come here for a guillotine.
Yeah, that was a good showing of students too. Our kids went out and killed it.
Oh yeah.
Every kid over there was doing this class in preparation for the tournament. This is in addition to their normal training, so they were some hungry little lions ready to get out there and test themselves. So we got Jack and Mike up here in the front. We got me and Camden over on the side.
Mitch and Cole in the back. Oh, go back.
That's a good one.
Go back.
Yeah,
That was a nice one. That was a little bit of a Fedor throw. How he comes over.
Let's zoom in on that just because.
Head gets on the inside.
Hold on
and he
one second.
steps over.
Adjust my tools here. Go back 1 second.
It's a good display of
it's the body
like
lock.
upper body inner position.
Ooh,
right? Like
bounces his
inside
head.
position.
Yeah. And that, yeah, just the way he steps behind him keeps the Cole watches his videos. You're like, quit replaying it. But yeah, he just gets a step behind, keeps his upper body going back. That was all about angles there. That was really, really great. And then Jack looking with the outside trip attempt that he doesn't get the outside trip and then immediately plays it into a single, right? That kind of stitch wrestling.
Yep. See, and here he has the arm trapped.
Yeah.
And if he were to come
Tap
around
on.
the back, it would have been a. If he would have come around the back, it would have been a very debilitating back take.
Yeah. Yeah, and he did a good job there. Jack did a good job here keeping Mike's knees away. I mean, he could have played if Mike was trying a little bit harder to re-guard. I think he would have shifted his hips out to his left, pointed his knees in the opposite direction. You know,
Tried to
try to get his guard back, put him in half guard. To prevent that, Jack could kind of backstep here with his left leg and weigh his hips heavily over top of
The knees.
Mike's knees to kind of pin him and then work from there to get his knee free or his foot free rather.
Mitch is online now.
What's up, bud?
Yeah, we got a lot going on. Even down to now Steven and Veronica down at the bottom on the right.
Yeah, Ronnie looking for the pass here, but there we go. Shucking his head by.
Yeah,
Or shucking
you're
his
not
leg
done
by.
yet. Yeah, with Steven, you're not
No.
done all the way. He has a very good way of, well, I mean, she's got a good cradle going right now.
Yeah.
I'm really liking the way that Veronica's using these cradles in order to start passing.
Yep.
It's very strong and yeah, why not, right?
Yeah, and even what he's doing up top there with her left arm, like it's no threat. He's not in a position to shoulder crunch or anything. Should be looking more to get frames in, you know, shrimp away.
Yeah, I think he's trying to relieve the
Stays
shoulder
in.
pressure here and start turning.
Yeah.
But she also does that thing to where she like puts the arm underneath the head and tries to like do a little bit of a crank on the front,
Yeah.
which sucks. Your heel hook and white belts.
Yeah. He deserved it. Let's see.
Mitch with the step over armbar. Boom.
Gets it.
That was nice.
It's a back that again. I missed it.
Yeah. Doing a great job. He steps over with the left, right over the head, but then he
Isolates
pops
it.
right under.
Yep.
Boom.
It was good. It was really
Very
good.
nice.
Working a butterfly pass on Camden there.
Mm-hmm.
So here we can kind of see Taylor again dealing with
Jason.
Mount, right?
Yep.
Jason's a good guy to practice that with. He's he's big. He'll track you.
Ooh, that was
Jason with
good.
the armbar too.
It was a really nice step over for Mount.
Yeah.
Yeah. Very nice.
Yeah, I know. Camden's one of our younger students, and he's pretty new. But one thing to point out that I'm doing with him, other than that annoying, like kicking his arms away, I'm not letting him establish grips on me at all, right?
Mm-hmm.
Once I can win the inside position there, I get his wrist, start creating space, keeping him at bay to prevent his head and arm control, which is gonna make it a lot easier for me to maneuver, get back to guard, set up my triangle, whatever I want to do in that case. I think I just told him there to not flap over. One thing, if you guys really want to piss me off, just show up to competition class and flop over. When you're in a bad spot, it's the worst thing you could do.
Tripod sweep.
Flopping's for first week white belts, not for a little tripod there. So I got right behind my right leg. It's behind his right ankle. Good sticky hook. And then my left leg is up on his hip. My left arm is capturing the other ankle, and then you just apply force backwards. Pull your the ankle that's hooking his leg, pull that towards your nose, or pull your knee to your nose, and that's what gets him off balance. And then just be ready to get up faster than I did. All right, Mitch and Ronnie. And taking her down. We got Cole and Gavin in the back. I'm sure that's an entertaining match to listen to.
Mm-hmm. Headlock.
I would love to see Gavin just hip toss Cole. That would be awesome.
Yeah.
So we got Joe over here setting up a triangle on Mike. So front triangle this time instead of the reverse he tried earlier.
He needs to get to the other side. He needs to get to his right
Yeah, and if
to start finishing that.
If that arm of his would if it would have hooked the leg. It looks like he's kind of cranking to the wrong way, which would be all maybe he got it. All well and good if he was trying the Hantai Senkaku wrong way triangle, but he would have had to go a lot further than that. Mitch loving his arm bars that day.
Mm-hmm.
Ronnie not loving it.
I mean, I know it was no one's fault, but like position of the camera,
Yeah, I couldn't put
it didn't
in my
work out with
normal
the kids
spot.
over there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Another spin around armbar.
He's got his leg in an awkward spot though, and Veronica knows it, so she's trying to keep it there.
Yeah.
I think I'm finishing a triangle.
Yeah.
Yep.
Let's see. So, all right, cool.
Yes.
in contrast to what Joe was just doing with Mike over here a second ago, you can kind of see, right? So you're doing it on the opposite side, like your legs are opposite what Joe was doing.
Right.
But yeah, you're going. You completely cut an angle. You're facing across Caleb instead of with him.
Right.
Which, you know, we went over, you and I, with Caleb and Austin yesterday.
Right.
You know, that was I remember when you and I, you know, first ripped that technique out of Danaher's book.
Yep.
For cutting that angle on the triangle, and just how much that like opened up that submission.
Yeah, I won't do it in any other way. Like it's proven too well.
Yeah. So I just hit. I'm going with Tal.
That was a
over
nice
here.
duck under on James.
Was that? I think it's Tal. I think it's James's brother.
Oh, yeah, you're right. I see James over there. I didn't even. Okay.
Yeah.
You're right.
So little duck under, just a quick level change. I could have done that way better. You know, I think I was relying on Tal's forward pressure, so I didn't shoot in as much as I probably should have. But you know, you can see up from here, whatever that was that I attempted. Again, his head is way out front of his feet, pressuring into me. So level change, let him fall forward. I'm keeping my collar tie that I had here to kind of pull him down and pass me. Keep my ear pinned up against his back, right? I'm not keeping my head down, which is how, you know, a lot of lazy wrestlers or just white belts who are trying new stuff, that's how they get guillotined pretty easily. And then I keep it going. I try to cut my angle. It looks like I pull him down to the ground with my collar tie, and then just stay on the back, or attempt to. He did a good job rolling. I probably could have controlled his shoulders a bit better there to prevent him getting to my guard. And I have no clue what's going on here with Joe and Mike.
Yeah.
they were all tied up. I couldn't tell what was happening, but
I know Mike is trying to isolate that far arm.
yeah.
And now he's doing the right, trying to get his knees in. Different schools of thought, but I generally tell and advocate for people to get their knee in rather. There's a time and a place, but I think generally speaking, kind of like how we say don't cross your feet with an arm bar because you forget to pinch your knees. The same thing remains true. I think at a more advanced level, when you up the top knee, it comes into play. But if you're not used to wrestling up and trying to jump after a double leg or like that, bottom knee is the way to go.
Yeah, learn. It's one of those things. It's like you learn the rules, and then later when you're good, you break the rules.
Yep.
Or shouldn't say good. When you're more proficient, when you get the fundamentals down, you can start to bend those.
Fucking Steven heel hooking white belts.
Typical. Johnny and Gavin. Me and Steven. And then I can't tell who Cole's going with back there. Maybe Jason.
That was a nice takedown. What did he do? Did he just come around and hug the legs and
Which
drive? Steven.
Steven.
How did he drop in?
Shot it on a double. Yep.
Nice.
Cut his angle.
but his head was on the inside, and he just kind of drove the shoulder. That was good.
Let's look at it one more time.
So his head goes to the inside rather than the outside.
Yeah, kind of
Grabs the legs.
almost like a blast double entrance there.
Right, but
but
he
he-
takes it sideways.
Yeah, kept his head in front, and then really just controlled my knees there. I couldn't base out at all. Kept my knees pointing away from me. I think a little bit sooner. I'd like to see him trying to get this leg back behind my legs. You know, stepping over, horse kicking back, whatever he's got to do to get around my sticky hook of my foot.
And yeah, that comes with a large confidence in that back. I know exactly what you mean.
Yeah, and instead, you know, he creates a lot of momentum to get around me, and then I just end up following him with my hook. Here we're in an open guard, you know, back to like looks like a butterfly guard, single butterfly.
Yep. And then you
And yeah,
pop right back up. You
forward
do that
shift.
forward shift, which we talked about 2 streams ago. De La Riva.
Sucks to suck.
Oh yeah.
So I guess I should say something helpful there instead of just making fun of Gavin. But you know, one thing he could be doing, this leg of his could be stepping over and trying to get this hook off, right?
Mhm.
I don't know what Johnny's doing with his hand out here, but it's an opportunity for Gavin to try to reach that and untangle what you know he's got going around his neck. It looks like he has his chin tucked, which is not safe, as we all know, but it definitely buys you a few seconds. So you know he has an opportunity to fight the leg battle as well as the hand battle up top. Really, I would prioritize getting that hook off, because once you do that, like you were saying earlier, it's either get your hips to the mat or get your shoulders to the mat. And that's an easy way to get your hips out. So something to work on there. Steven trying to leg lock me, or enter into my legs, I guess. You look like you're about to puke.
I'm glad my knees are feeling better, because it really sucked just sitting down every single time.
Yeah, I'll be happy when my arm works. And so yeah, I mean, like, not to take anything away from anybody, but like my left arm right now and in this video as well is my shoulder's just shot right now. So a lot of my training has been, you know, trying to adapt to having the use of one arm, a little bit of help from my other arm. I want to see what I did to Steven there. Looked like I got around for that.
Yeah, I think you had a wrist grip on his right arm,
Yeah.
and you just pulled him around.
Yeah, so all right, I had his ankle with my right arm, going into trying to work an X guard here. He's standing out front of me. It's hard to see. All right, so looks like I went into De La Riva. Right, he stepped back around and exposed his back. What I think what was happening there was he was probably trying to sit through onto a knee bar. Which, you know, that's a real legit concern. I got a killer knee bar on a kid one time in competition. He played De La Riva. I captured his heel though, which you could see Steven doesn't have here, right? That hand, if he was grabbing my heel, he may have been able to sit through, extend my leg, slide into the knee bar. But instead, I just kind of retracted my knee, leaving my foot in. Got my other foot behind him. So you'll see my right foot pummels in as he steps around. So right there, it pummels in. I get up, grab the hips, extend my legs, kick him forward, get a fun, humiliating little back entrance there. But I don't have my hooks in, so notice I stayed really, really tight on his head and shoulders as I got myself up, leaned him forward. I should have stood up on that and just jumped in from there, keeping the head and shoulders. But looks like I try again. Steven's gotten stupid good at just keeping really, really tight, making it extremely difficult to get his to get hooks in on him. So all credit to him on that. Ooh, Gavin with a nice little duck under.
Yeah, I like that.
Now, taking Johnny down, especially given the size difference, is going to be difficult. But that was great.
He needs
Really
to
good
stay
back
low
control.
on the hips.
Yeah, staying low, staying tight. It's like you got a little Americana threat here on James.
Yeah, so this is like one of the ways to pass guard, right? Is I wasn't able to pressure pass him, or I was trying to, and it wasn't really working all that well. So what I was able to do was snatch the arm. Caleb stands in here, I think, through the finish. But I was able to come over top, grab the arm, and pin it, threaten the Kimura. And eventually, I think he relinquishes his legs, and I'm able to finish the Kimura. So here James is doing a really good job of hugging the head, right? Talk about this a lot, preventing me from coming into a single leg X guard. It's a good defense, good early defense. But as soon as I'm able to, if I'm able to pummel around, I can continue to work from that position. But I think I relinquished it, went back to a butterfly, trying to set something else up.
Steven just had a pretty killer reversal on me. So we're fighting this, this like half guard, or it looks like I'm trying to pass.
Kimura. He's shooting for a Kimura on that.
Yeah, he went through he's still doing it. Like he's been really sniping out these Kimuras on us. But I did a little hip switch on him, right? I'm trying to, he's still digging for that Kimura, and then he uses it to roll me over, keeps it. I rolled towards him because I knew I was in a lot of trouble. Got my elbow to the mat and got safe, but that was a good move on his part. Let's see how you set.
So I really like setting this up from a body lock pass.
Okay.
It's another battle for head position. If I can, but if this is the point where somebody's head is coming into my chest, and I go for a double overs grip. So he's got a body lock on me.
Yep.
And I'm pretty much, my goal here is to engage my butterfly hooks and extend my. So in order for that to happen, I need him to either have his legs sprawled out, or I need to have his head like extending away from his legs. And so I have it to where his head extended away from his leg. So I wrap up a double overs, and I'm literally just driving off that bottom drive leg, turn it.
Yeah, it's not just like flipping a guy over. I'm trying to get that just to illustrate what
Watch
you're saying.
His left shoulder touches the mat, and that's all I need.
Yeah,
as soon as his left shoulder touches the mat, I'm driving that leg.
Yeah, one of the basic thing about a sweep that I tell everybody is, capture part of the base, take them in the direction of that base, right? The taking away a leg of the table, right? But the other thing that took me a while to work it into my game when I learned it was using that other leg in the case of like a hook sweep, using that leg to press off as best you can. You're obviously only going to do as much as you can. The sole of your foot isn't on the ground, so you're really pushing up the balls of your toes. But if you can do that, you generate a lot of power. See how Mike's hips come off the mat. When you do that, you get your hips up, and it's really, really difficult to stop from there. The only ways that people shut that down when I'm at this point with it is they've got this leg way out. They're I haven't disrupted their base enough. They're standing, they're circling, or they're trying to stand. They're trying to get their hips up higher than mine. But yeah, that hook isn't enough to get somebody over. Like, sure, our legs can be strong, but they're not necessarily that strong, especially at the knee. So using that drive leg to get your hips up is a big help for sweeps. That'll open up your sweep game for sure.
And James is not easy to take over.
No.
I mean, some people just fall over. He's very difficult for me to flatten out, like to reverse. And here we're talking about, I think, the forward shift. So this is what I was talking about with how I was able to lock that down. Was I grabbed that, I forward shifted to get his legs, to get my legs extended away, so that way I can start to drive sideways.
Just want to see how I got Ronnie down. If it was anything worth going over, not really. So,
like an outside trip.
Yeah, like Casoto, Gari, I think.
Mm-hmm.
All right, you and Joe. James says he has a 0% success rate on body lock passing you.
It'll go up sooner rather than later, I promise. So, I mean, for what's going on with Joe here, I have my left leg in. I mean, I know everybody gives me shit a little bit for playing butterfly guard all the time. But I feel like with that left leg that I have posted up and my right leg fed through, I can shoot for legs all day long. So really all I'm looking for in this type of position is for Joe to give me, or me to get Joe to shift to my left, his right at all. And what I'll do is I'll do a cross like armpit post and shoot in for the legs.
Yeah, this also lends itself well to you. If I can get a decent angle here, it's hard to see. Camden, cheesing. You know that butterfly. God damn it, Camden. It lets you pull the guy up over you. Is what I'm trying to say. Like,
right.
You know, you don't always. You know, when you're, I think when you're starting out, or you know, when you're heavily defensive, you know, pushing the guy away with your butterfly hook, you know, your knee shield, whatever. There you go. You're starting to get your you got your leg entrance there. But like pushing a guy away with your leg is one thing. When you can start to use that to take them over you and get their hips over your head to do some pretty, you know, the more pretty looking leg entrances, that's where you can have a lot of fun with it.
Right. Yeah, I'm wondering what so I do like a scoop grip here, and this is where I'm able to kind of slowly, I was trying to flatten him out, but he sprawled way back and was able to shake it.
Yeah, those chicken legs are stronger than they look.
Dude, no kidding. I've been doing this a lot lately too, playing butterfly half guard, playing around with it. It really
Gordon
depends.
Says that's predominantly the game he uses too. Gordon Ryan.
The only thing that I have noticed with it is that it works when people actually play jiu-jitsu against you. And you know, but you can't force anyone to engage with a butterfly hook. You force them away, you know. So Joe's game, you know, like, so he was playing jiu-jitsu, like he was doing all the right things, which meant that I felt comfortable playing the butterfly half.
Yeah, Joe's not gonna stall out on you.
Nah.
These two are playing patty cake.
And I'm pretty sure I took Joe over very similar to,
yeah. Good little takedown from Natalie.
You had that triangle on Veronica.
Oh, did I? Did I actually get it on?
Yep, you did.
Legs are so. I might have gotten the armbar.
Ah, okay. Yeah. Either way, it's a good dilemma.
Yeah, that or the the kind of hip-based Americana, where you get a mini Americana, but you thrust your hips into their elbow.
Right.
All right, Gavin calling out the big dog.
I enjoy rolling with Gavin.
Yeah.
He's you know, he's kind of been born and bred through our school, so the motions and the things that he does are very yeah, I like it because he does what we teach, right? So
Yeah.
it's nice. I'm trying to Von Flue choke him, but I really suck at the Von Flue choke.
It's not one of my best either. So down here in the corner with Joe and Cole, I just want to point out Joe's attempt to sweep him over, right? So it looks good at the start. Trying to see what the grips are. So some bicep ties. So he gets double unders, right? Which seems like a great idea. In many cases, that's a fantastic grip to have. In this case, unless Cole is like committed to, you know, a closed circle, you know, some. Well, even then, if Cole had closed his arms around him, he doesn't really have any real control over the shoulders, right? But what he does have is an ability to break that and base out, right? So when you go to try to take somebody over here, this is like what I was alluding to earlier. You got to take one of the table legs away. Joe hasn't taken one of Cole's arms away, which in this case he would want to do for this particular sweep. So he elevates him, right? But he can't take him over because, one, he falls right to his back, which we talk about all the time. Fall to your side, not your back. But Cole can base out. It looks like he probably put his head on the ground, had his elbows out wide, and that was enough of a base for him. So, you know, with the double undergrip, he could have tried to like forward shift and work from there. But for that double, you know, for the butterfly sweep with both legs in, not an ideal grip, I think. I don't know what I was trying to do to James, but I'm sitting cross ashi on him. I don't know if I was in a heel hook and white belts mood that entire day or what, but. And a lot of times,
Turning
want
it back on you. There you go.
What was that?
He's turning it back. He's trying to go for your right leg.
And that's what I want. Like, you know, especially with the guys who haven't done too much with legs yet. You know, I'll get into, you know, a tight cross ashi or whatever, with no real intention of finishing anything. But I want them to get comfortable there. Like, you know, I don't know about you, but when I realized like not panicking is probably the first step to any successful leg lock escape. You know, that was a big help to me. So like being in that position, feeling comfortable, you know, understanding which way to roll, which way you don't want to roll. Yeah, it's a good way for you guys to practice that. And feel free to do that to each other. Just don't rip any heel hooks on each other.
Mm-hmm. So I think because on Monday
You're trying
James,
to break Gavin's arm right now.
I'm going slow. I feel like with James, especially on Monday, I feel like that front headlock position is going to be he's going to be very dominant in that position. He has a very good pressure. That was a sweet shoulder crunch sweep that you just did.
Good, let's look at that again. So, ideally, I'd rather have my elbow more up here than down by his lat. And this space, that'll probably close up. Let's see what happens. So yeah, for me, you know, since I'm short and against bigger guys a lot of the times, I have to use this foot push on the hip, and to continue droning on with my table leg reference, in doing this, I'm actually taking away 2 legs of the table, right? I got his arm. You can see I'll push his leg out of the way, and that's where I can get that sweep. So, like we saw Joe a few seconds ago with his double butterfly, that works. It can work in some situations. Certainly not a bad technique. I find a lot of success in basically opening up one side of the body. I push, if I extend this guy's arm this way, I push his leg the other way, and he has absolutely no base on that side, and I get a fun, shoulder crunch sweep out of it, and then follow up in the mount.
Can you go back a little bit?
Yeah.
Again, just exactly where you were. Right here, stop. So, kind of what I was talking about before with crunch is that your head is above James's head. So that's where a lot of the pressure and control of the shoulder comes from. That's where you feel it, like if you've ever been in that shoulder crunch position, it doesn't feel good. It feels very like it's locked down, right?
Yeah.
And that's because your head is on above James's head, pushing down on the shoulder against your neck.
Yeah, and
so
even
you do a really good job of doing that.
And pulling like this elbow inside. Obviously there's space here, but just clamping down on that, and getting their shoulder basically from in front of their head. I don't know if I could show here, but like in front of their head to like in plane with their head and their spine.
Yep.
I know when Danny does it to me, it's miserable. It's probably one of the reasons my shoulder hurts so bad right now. Because with his bony arms and just a solid. Danny has a great shoulder crunch sweep.
I just on me. What did you finish with?
I'm not sure. Oh, I think I just went to an Americana.
Okay.
Kept up there. So, I don't know if I've talked about this on video yet, but like, how you just never see Americanas in like professional competition, or like even after like white and blue belt, they really kind of go by the wayside, with the exception of Gabby Garcia, who's finished like everyone with the Americanas.
Right.
What I realized was that like they're way higher percentage when you're controlling the entire shoulder line, right? It seems like obvious now at brown belt, but like you learn that move from mount the first time you learn it, and you don't realize you're not really controlling the guy's shoulders in mount. People don't know how to escape it, so that's how you get your escape. But when you can hit it from like a mounted crucifix, it's a lot higher percentage because they're pinned, their shoulders are controlled. They can't turn to assist the hand. It's just a way better position, I think, that mounted crucifix to try and attempt Americanas. You won't really catch me seriously trying to finish them from mount, from a basic mount anymore. Unless I just want to take your back.
Yeah, right. Cole does Cole's guard passing right there was pretty awesome. The way he brings in his left leg to drive down the right leg of Joe, so that he can get his right.
Yeah, it was good, and he didn't keep his left leg in to be captured. Switching the capture from one side or the other. Me flailing helplessly against James, downward shoulder pressure.
Trying the buggy choke.
That's what it was. That's what I was doing. Okay, I'm like that is not indicative of how I normally roll. So yeah, I was trying to. That's what it is. I'm trying to get my hips out. I'm like, I look like an idiot right now. So yeah, I was trying to capture his head and then do whatever I could to attempt a buggy choke, which I'll probably never get on anybody other than Gavin, but it's always worth trying, just for fun. Until I blow my knee out. Gavin for the armbar.
Can he finish?
I imagine you probably saw the clock and you were like, yeah, I'm just gonna let him strain. Don't even look at me. Alright, who else we got? We still got quite a bit of time left on this. I'm gonna speed up a bit for now. We'll stop on some highlights. I commend Gavin for always going with everybody in the room. I mean, Caleb's definitely got a size and a height advantage, experience, and he's just game for it. Cole and Steve in the back. Let's look at that again. So Steve from outside. Little fakey up top. Right? It looks like he's going in for his hands. And then Cole with the reroll. Steven on the single. Yeah, Steven's gotta either get to an angle there or it looked like he was starting to crush his leg in to maybe go for like a butterfly, like passing the butterfly guard. But Cole doing a good job just establishing the grips up top. And then working his way in to get his get a good leg position. Natalie making fun of her mom, probably talking smack. I want to go back here to Cole. Looks like he was attacking a Kimura on Steve. Yeah, so kind of stupid player. There we go.
And Steven just jumps over.
Yes. So that was a little risky just because, you know, he doesn't have like his right arm here is very far away from his left arm, which is under an immediate attack. It's going to be really hard to separate to isolate that arm for the Kimura without, you know, I think without using his leg, or maybe even trying to establish guard first and then going for it. You know, there was no control there, and Steven was able to just walk around. I feel like you're just torturing
I am.
Ronnie right now. And you're sitting there not talking because you're relishing in it. But she's getting just more and more difficult to sub by the day, so
yeah,
she's onto our
and
tricks.
She's tough to sub, especially from the back. For me at least, because I mean I want to lean clean choke, and she's just it's damn near. She makes me rip across her face if I'm gonna finish a choke, and I'm not gonna do that.
I will. So Steven here is he's going for a sneaky little setup, right? He's exposed Cole's back, but he's not going for the back, right? He's trying to isolate his top arm here, and he's stepping his foot up slowly, getting it behind his shoulder line. So right there, when he sat through, if he could have gotten this foot free, he could have easily sat into a triangle and cut around and gotten that angle.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure if Cole saw that coming and shut it down, or if it was just, if his leg was just left behind. And then here he realizes he doesn't have the triangle, tries to switch it up to an omoplata, which is perfectly reasonable attempt. When he gets his leg free, I'll jump ahead again. So he clears his knee, brings his leg over. I know it's probably really difficult against Cole. Go back a few frames. I'd rather see him start to establish control here. Get this arm up over the back, right, to prevent the roll or to prevent what Cole's about to do to him. And then you've got to scoot your hips out in this direction. A lot of people get stuck here because they can't sit up. So the remedy to that is scooting your hips, even like very incrementally, to scooch until you can get your hips out. Hold the tight waist and start to apply your leverage for the finish. But without that control, the omoplata is fairly easy to shut down when you don't have the guys, or when your hips are free. So Cole just kind of helicopters over and then gets to play smashy. Looks like you're trying to set up a sweep here on Ronnie.
Mm-hmm. If I sweep her, I'm normally pretty happy.
Yeah. Speed up a little bit again.
And almost got it.
Steven calling out Joe.
We Gavin Camden.
Yeah,
Single
back
leg.
at it again. Working a
That was
single
nice.
leg. Jason's getting really, really solid in his takedown defense too. I mean,
Yeah.
it's never mind that I just took him down there, but I strung together a whole bunch of attempted inside leg sweeps and also
Mhm.
all sorts of stuff that just wasn't working. Baiting the ankle pick, just going into my open guard BS, and then just stayed in on a low single. That's what it was. See if Joe and Steven are up to anything good. So one thing about Naga that I didn't realize, or maybe I knew at the time, but then definitely forgot come competition day, was that blue belts can reap, or
Mhm.
I guess intermediate or whatever.
And heel hook.
Yeah, they can reap and heel hook. So probably why you'll see Steven doing that in the lead up to like during our competition training videos.
Yep, big reap there.
So something that was just going on with Jason over here on the side, he's I'm not sure entirely what he was doing. He was giving me enough trouble, to try to pass to mount, that I said, all right, if I can't get to mount, I'm gonna get it away from your legs, get away from your hips. I'm gonna head up into north south. So utilize north south as a way. If you end up having a good game there, great. Hit some submissions and whatever. But otherwise, you could use it as a way to avoid a guy's legs really well. It's happened to me in competition before when I did Absolute Grappling Industries forever ago, which one of these days we'll review all that. I'm going to compile my footage. We got to get yours too and just start breaking down our old matches. It's probably not fair that we beat up on all these guys. Austin, I just saw your message. Yeah, always trying to copy your buggy choke. You're probably one of the only ones in the school who can hit it. So you're gonna have to teach me how to do it one of these days. that was Steven had a cool little looked like he had a cool entrance to the legs there. Heavily on the defense. I think he went for a toe hold here. It's hard to tell what leg configuration he was in. Oh, okay.
He had his knee in.
Yeah.
Like he had his knee across the
Yeah. It's like a cross-ashi but flipped, which isn't really useful. But I guess he got a toe. Oh, time ran out. Okay. Talk enough shit to you. I think both your knees were busted that day.
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, cool, let's go. Jason just snaps down Gavin.
Steven and Joe on the front. No, Joe is really practicing guard retention and going after that piece of it. So
Yeah, I'm excited to see how that improves with him. Not that it's bad at all right now. It's just gonna be that much more annoying to roll with him pretty soon.
Yeah.
Caleb blocking everything again. Focus on some of these shots. You're setting up for your wing sweep on me, as usual. There's a real fine line between, like, weighing myself up.
Right.
and oh, that, yeah. I think I remember this roll. I tried to go through. I probably saw some highlight or something, and I was like, jump behind. It's hard to see, but I jump behind. I get in here, basically like trying to do a berimbolo, or some weird variation of it that I've never been good at anyway. And then you're like, all right, you're an idiot.
We never find out stuff if we don't try it.
Yeah. And just a point of note, for whoever I was talking to about this recently, notice the knee elbow connection here and how much I rely on that. Like, I pretty much don't try to pass your guard. I don't make significant efforts to pass your guard until I can get that, right?
Yep.
Like right there, I pummel my elbow in. My next step is try to get my leg to inside position. You do it. You're always shutting that down anyway because you know exactly what I'm trying to do. But
right.
With anybody, that's what I'm looking for.
It's the only way, right? I mean, otherwise you leave yourself open to attacks, and it's it's the right way to pass. It's very effective too. I like how you have your hand on my hip, as you were coming around for that north-south choke, trying to make sure that I don't track you.
Yeah, I also like how you're not even really fighting it because you know that it's just not gonna work, and I don't like.
Well,
I don't like that.
It is what it is, right?
Those have never been good chokes for me. I mean, I think I tried it there. Just I always check back in with it to see if I'm getting any better. Or being mindful about some of the finishing details. There are a lot. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, not that I've ever cared about how my face looks, but I care less about how my face looks now. So I just like shove my head inside of people's lats now to get smashed.
Oh yeah. Yeah, it's a good night when I come home and my wife asks me what happened to my face in a jiu-jitsu class. So here I start.
You finish me here.
So I was trying to get the I'm trying to look for Yoko Senkaku or side triangle a lot more these days. Just now that I have a better idea, there you pummeled your hand free. I think we fight this battle a little bit, and then I end up switching back into it. Oh no, okay, that was timer. But yeah, that's something I think that'll be a lot more it'll be a lot higher percentage. Just getting the finishing mechanics of that triangle position down. It's a wonky one, but once you get it, like when the first one you get, when it feels right, it clicks.
Right.
You know, it feels like something you should be trying more.
Yeah, I mean, because like you may have already said this, but like once you get it, it's so tight, so fast.
Yeah.
It's very strong. This is Cole.
Basically the end of class.
Yeah.
Well,
Cole was fucking up the choke that Mike had just shown.
Yeah.
Given it.
Oh yeah, I remember that. Let's try to breeze through some gi. This might not be. A lot of our gi videos have been short lately, just because people not.
Because they're Tuesdays.
Yeah.
Tuesday ones. This is just you training with everybody.
Oh yeah, and this is this was when we first kind of got the idea to start streaming this stuff, and from our first choice of camera position, which is a little limiting. That's why we've since moved it. So this is me and Jason, and I don't know if we've had footage of Jason on here yet, but he's been a solid addition to the school. I mean, he came way back when, but then had to deploy for a while. Kept training as much as he could while he was stationed over in, I believe, Afghanistan. But I remember I think it was the first roll he and I had in gi. He hit me with a De La Riva sweep that I had never seen before, and I was immediately like, we played out the round, and I was like, all right, how'd you do that? Let's go through that setup, and I've used it numerous times ever since, even in no gi. I never played De La Riva, or very rarely, but you can see here it's a part of his game that's really worked well for him over the years. I think he even probably tries to hit the sweep on me, or he may get it this time. If I see it, I'll try to point out what he's doing.
So he's got collar sleeve, and then he's trying to keep that hook, the De La Riva hook, behind the leg. That was a fun one when he showed me that sweep, but it's getting harder and harder for him to hit.
Yeah. So that's the sweep right there, right? So.
Oh, okay.
He has to keep my hand, right? Because that's going to be my base. Where's my arrows?
Mm-hmm.
So that's going to be my base. He controls the ankle with his other hand until he's ready to commit to it. This leg of his has to drop. That's how he stands up. And when this leg drops, this one goes with it, and that's what pulls my right leg out from underneath me. So right there, right? So you could see he's trying to sweep my leg out from underneath me.
Mm-hmm. But how is he supposed to be taking you behind? Because you have to have some sort of push, right? Or to pair with that hip heist.
So it's his hip is basically, it's coming up, but he is using his hips and his leg, the leg that's hooked behind my leg, to pull my leg out from underneath me. It's not, and that's the thing about this sweep is the leg that he's attacking, in this case, my right leg, is weighted up. It's
right.
not an unweighted leg. So as he's pulling up, you can see I'm trying to slow it down. Why can't I get it? As he stands up, he has to rip my leg out from underneath me using his leg, right? So it's kind of like an ankle pick. See right there, as he twists his hips up, he would take his left leg and pull it that way, and then with ideally my base just becomes way too wide and I fall on my butt, and that's what happened the first time he did it. The way to shut this down is from all the way back here. Like I said before, he's got to drop both of his legs. His right leg helps him stand up. His left leg hooks mine. If I just, with my left hand, grab his heel and just cup his heel and hold it up, he can't stand up. There's no way for him to stand up, so he can't hit the sweep. So that's how I kind of delay that and then fight, fight to untangle my legs when I can tell he's starting to threaten that. I think I probably just said something to him about almost hitting it. Looked like he was laughing at me.
Yeah, it's definitely not my strongest guard. It's not one that I play.
I feel like my legs are so terribly short for it, so.
Looks like he's trying to get a collar. And you're staying calm.
Yeah,
trapping the leg.
Back in.
Yep.
Slow it down
Executing. That's
using the scorpion to take that top pressure off of me.
Pressure off. Yep.
But yeah, what I really gotta stop doing that. What I really want to try to do, or one of the things I like to do, is once I can get his knee, the one that's in the scorpion, down on the mat, try to hit that knee lever. Because right now he just has full, like he was cross facing me. He probably had a head and arm position. So getting him off balance with the knee lever to base out lets me pummel my hand back in and start reestablishing my frames, get my inside position back. So now with him, I'm in a similar position, but on top. So, like I said earlier, primary goal here, get my knee free. He probably just pushed me over. Get my knee free. It looks like he re-guarded here, but I kept his legs at bay. I can't tell where his legs are now. Okay, so I'm sitting into real sloppy side control. That's the other thing too. Like Jason and I are about the same size, but he can just be a powerhouse sometimes. I saw him. he like sent Gavin across the room. He was like, "All right, get off of me." He like push kicks him, from like Gavin's like in his guard or whatever, and he just pushed him across the room. I was like, "Damn, okay."
Collar sleeve. Looks like he's trying to establish some sort of grip on your leg. I normally advise for the top player here to ignore the legs and get rid of those grips. Matt's in this position is very offensive, setting up sweeps, and so Jason's finally changing his strategy up. He addressed the wrist grip, but he has not addressed that collar grip, and that's what ultimately takes him over there. Yeah, Jason definitely impresses me every time I train with him. Yeah. He has like bags of tricks that just it's like every time I train it's like he pulls another trick out of the bag.
Yeah, we haven't seen all of them yet.
Yeah. So that was really nice to see, and I know we've talked about, especially during mount, is like what he does in order to get out of that mount. Two hands on the hips, on the chest, right? And he explodes and straightens his legs out to try and get his knees in between Matt's knees.
Yeah, so it's basically a kipping escape.
Yep.
Which, if you guys want to start playing around with that, as you really should, what you want to look for is the top guy's hands on the mat, right?
Yep.
That when he's gotten me off balance, I have to base out. All of my weight, or most of my weight, is over my arms, which means my hips and my legs are really light. With two hands on the hips, I can already hear people saying like, well, you always tell us not to push people away, don't bench press away. You're not pushing into their chest, you're pushing down the hips. So that's the big difference here. And then Mike, like you're saying, getting those legs up and then, you know, extending. See, he's extending his arms, pointing to the screen like you guys can see me. He's extending his arms at my hips rather than pushing away at my chest as you would do if you were like panicking. And here I'm just well enough off balance that he can just bring his legs back in and get to open guard. Good to get my knee free.
It's hard to do in the gi.
Yeah.
He opens his legs there and you scoot right past. An arm choke. Boom.
Yeah, so just for the setup to that. Right. I knew on this side of him.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just he had that he had his arm in the wrong spot, but there's no way I could finish it from here, so you could see I take my hips towards his knees. I get his knees pointing away from me so he can't re-guard. Step over into a mount, and then pummel my leg over to again just try to prevent him from re-guarding. Stay tight on him until I feel like I can make my move, and then hips down and for the finish.
I remember Gordon, like when we trained with Gordon, when he showed us the pummeling into side control, what you just did, that completely changed my transitions.
Yeah.
Like being able to cut the knee and the instep across the hip, that completely changed the way that I transitioned around body drills.
I think we got Kurt here.
Kurt and Steven.
Which I'm gonna send to Kurt. Tell him he's not watching his ass getting beaten, and he should.
Steven transitions into a back pick. But it was nice. He thought he was losing the arm, and then he went for a better position, basically. Looks like he lost it.
There we go.
But I think this was done all the way back in like July or something. So
yeah, when was this? This video was July 27th. Only took us 4 or 5 months to finally set up the stream. Trying to step on his arm.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, this is a good opportunity for Kurt to practice his standing guard break. And full disclosure, I mean, he's had his troubles with his lower back, so it might be hard to posture up when a guy's hanging his full weight off you. But there are some other opportunities there to break guard in a standing position. Trying a log splitter, things like that.
And generally speaking, like when Steven's opening up his guard there, what I tend to do is literally just drive a knee straight up like it's a placeholder.
Mm-hmm.
It's very difficult even if somebody does have long enough legs to cross. When I've got my knee straight up the middle, strong enough for me to be able to break open the guard just in between.
Yeah.
Nice omoplata transition. But now he's going to go for a toe hold because it's Steven. But he's playing against Kurt, who also likes to play leg.
Yeah, Kurt's got a nasty straight ankle.
Mm-hmm.
I think one of the happiest times I've ever seen him was the day he got his blue belt, and it was also the day he first got me to tap, and he was pretty sure he told me. If he didn't, you could tell, but he was happier that he tapped me than he was to get his blue belt, and it was with a straight ankle lock that he threw on, and I was just like, yeah, I'm not getting out of that. Like, I couldn't stand up in time, and I'm like, he really wants this. And I really want my ankle to not hurt, so. Repping the Diamond Cup. Boom, there we go. Maybe one day we'll be sponsored by them. Which, yeah, if you're watching online right now and you're not, I'm sorry, if you're watching but not following, you should be. Make an account, follow us, help us out. Let's get our follower count up. And let us know what more you want to see. We're doing this for you guys, so.
And if you follow, you get notifications when we go live. So it'll let you know, and you can come and join in whenever we're on Twitch.
Yeah, and if it's a holiday and you're wondering why it's Wednesday at 8 and no one's on, if you didn't get an alert, it's because we're real people too, with families. And sorry we kept you waiting, James. And Caleb. It's kind of fun when like the pace matches the music a little bit. So yeah, kind of weak Toriando attempts from me to get around Steven here. Oh, that was where I planted on my my shoulder, or I planted my hand and like just blasted my shoulder with all my body weight. So Steven was kind enough to let me have a brief reprieve,
recover,
before smashing me. Man, if it's been 4 months, a little over 4 months since this footage was recorded, and my shoulder's still messed up, I should probably quit jiu-jitsu altogether at this point. So something, I know Luke has covered this. Anytime we're doing half guard, he goes over, the scorpion or the lockdown position, which I kind of weakly have Steven in right now. If I took my foot and extended it a little bit further down, be a bit tighter of a lockdown. But since it's not, that's good for Steven, right? My arm or my leg is over the backside of his knee here, which means that he could pull his heel up towards his butt, whip it outward, and get out of this little sticky hook position I have on him. I know Kurt's talked about how much of a pain in the ass it is every time like Luke goes over how to get out of this, and people start getting used to it when like when Kurt's tried to get me in a lockdown, since learning how to get out of it, it's that much more difficult. It's not as controlling as you think it is. You just kind of need to stay composed. The other good thing I like to do is take my other foot to the foot that's crossing over the back of the knee and push it down, right? It's just a way to unlock the triangle or the figure four that they have on your leg. So two decent options for if you're getting stuck in lockdowns frequently. Nice little back take. Just kind of stepped my leg out.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to be here anymore. So yeah, it's difficult. At least for me, like, it's difficult when someone stays centered up like that instead of like allowing me to get them to a side. It's difficult to be effective on the back. So that was kind of my defensive posture there, just staying up on him until I could get my legs or my hips or my shoulders free. Here Steven he has his chance to either set up a crossbody ride or reestablish his hooks to play back position from the side. And I just kind of slowly work my way out, get my shoulders to the mat, turn towards him. And mind you, this is back when Steven had a white belt, so he's come, I don't want to say a long way, because I don't want to give him any credit, but he's gotten better. Do I get an armbar here? So my knee's in kind of a crappy position for that.
Yep. Oh, no.
I'm just going to go back to that really quick. So when was it before this? So yeah, when he rolls me over, he leaves his arm in. But you could see here, my knee is it's too low. I'll try to capture
below
that.
the ear.
Yeah, if I had my knee, here's my knee. If I had it up above his ear, it'd be much more difficult for him to get out. In fact, his elbow, like looking at where my grips are, his elbow's probably safe at this point. Yeah, he just twists out. I think he goes for a leg lock on me. Speed it back up. We got about 6 minutes of footage left, I think. That was cool. Fun little I think it's like an X guard sweep.
Yep.
Right, so I get my leg. I take my ankle behind his ankle, and then I have it's hard to see, but I have my other foot up by his hip with my knee pushing into him.
And you trapped it with an overhook.
Pull his foot away.
His left foot.
I left my foot behind like an idiot. Could have been smoother execution for me. I think we have one more. Me and Kurt. Hope you're watching, buddy. So a long time ago, Kurt started attacking lapels and stuff from standing position, which is why basically anytime I roll with him, I immediately just start like ripping his gi open. I'll rip mine open. Just like, here, take it. Go for it. So hence our little slap fight in the beginning there. And notice I'm primarily gripping with my right hand here because again, I hurt my shoulder pretty bad earlier when I was going with Steve. So using my left hand to kind of open up the grips for the right. Big heavy pull. I like what he did there where he was kind of stepping on my leg to break my knee down. I don't know if you caught that. So we get here, you know, I get my leg extended a bit,
Oh yeah.
and he starts stepping on it to weigh it down. And I mean, like, it seems like nothing, but it's a decent way to immobilize a guy's leg, you know, for long enough to do what you want to do. So we might see an example here of Kurt putting me in a lockdown, like I was talking about earlier, and, you know, staying composed, and working my way out of it. Looks like see, so you see I just try to pull my heel towards my butt and then flip my leg out the other way. I don't know if I try the other escape in this roll or not. But I'm also just bugging his head up top a lot, right? So he's not doing too much with the lockdown other than keeping me from advancing forward.
Yeah, the lockdown's meant to extend to get you off balance to Kazushi.
Yeah. Yeah, and, you know, you see plenty of guys using that as the entrance to deep half and all that. So there are really, really good offensive moves. And in fact, so yeah, there's a little bit of foot pummeling there. I'll give Kurt his credit in a second, but I've got my left foot, you know, pummeled in as a foot wedge. You can see I pulled my heel up, I moved it to the outside, slapped it to the mat, and then now I just kind of moved his foot past where he can't lock me down, right? He's got to get that leg, you know, his ankle back under. He might do it here. Probably could have made better use of that time. And sometimes I just grab feet and rip them up, hoping to get a reaction out of it. Like, you know, hoping that someone thinks I'm going to pull some weird leg stuff and they'll extend their leg and kick it away. I can almost guarantee that's what I was doing there, because there was nothing offensive about that. But in any case, Kurt's got a really, really good electric chair that he likes to hit. So you'll see him pulling that out on some of the other students once he gets that lockdown, and if he doesn't get cross-faced out of deep half, it's a really, really powerful position for him.
To hear you're bugging the head, and we talk a lot about this in math too, right? The more you bug the head, the more you see its hands come up.
Yeah.
Which gives you the opportunity to attack. So it's never just like trying to work the position. Like, you always have to couple that position with threat of submission.
Yeah, I wish I could tell what I was trying to dig for on this. I imagine I was probably working, you know,
It was an Americana, right?
an Americana with the attempt to get it. Oh, it was either the Americana to try to get the back. I think I did really try to rip Americanas on him tonight, because it may have come up earlier in that class. And this might be where I switched to trying to hit it in the mounted crucifix that I was talking about earlier. But Kurt was, you know, he's tough to submit regardless of what you're trying to go for. I've been trying to hit side triangles on him as much as I can lately, and he's just, I don't know if he's just thick-necked or what, but he's really hard to triangle. Definitely doesn't give him away. So here, there's just no way I'm gonna Americana when he's got his arm up there, and that was how I got my elbow popped, because I had my arm up like this, and the guy just took it that way. So I don't like to crank on those when that happens, but it's also just bad finishing mechanics on my part. So here I'm in that mounted crucifix. I'm almost positive he doesn't let me get it. Like, he just won't tap on this. But you can see he doesn't have the opportunity for his left hand to come in and help his right. I mean, like, look at that. How much more could I crank on that without being afraid I'm gonna hurt my friend? Look at that. So yeah, I think I even laugh at him and talk some smack, but try to go for it again. Yeah, and I assumed the same position, right? I could tell I got my knee up over his other arm. I don't know. I think I need to roll my wrists in more.
Yeah. It's got to be that. It's got to be just not being able to isolate the shoulder.
Yeah. Probably running low on time.
They don't. They're not a high percentage submission for me either.
Right.
The Americanas.
Yeah. Probably apologize a few times. Yeah. So cool. All right, that wraps it up for tonight, boys and girls. Let's see. Let's be fancy here. Get the footage off. So yeah, we've got plenty more footage to go over. And I mean, I don't know what the holiday schedule is as far as the month of December looks. I think we'll be good for all the Wednesdays this month, unless you're doing some traveling or something. 2 weeks from now is my birthday, so maybe I won't be doing it that night. We'll see. But yeah, in any case, if you guys have any questions, bring them to class. Talk about them with us in the open mats. Trim your nails. Stay clean. Do your laundry. Don't be stinky. And yeah, we'll see you on the mats.